Let me try and explain myself a little. Ever since I can remember, I've wanted to be a YouTuber. I don't really think that's uncommon for people of my age. I mean, I'm sitting at 23, and I remember from the very first YouTube Let's Play I watched, I thought how cool it would be to do that. At the time, I didn't necessarily feel like I had any particular focus or talent to sort of showcase. I mean, God, I was 10 years old when I watched my first video, but I knew I liked it. And I wanted to be involved in something like that. Up to that point, had only really watched, satellite television. I mean, I was like a 10-year-old in the UK. I watched Cartoon Network, I watched Disney XD, but I didn't really do much beyond that. YouTube was still a new thing. And so when I first found it, and I found, I think it was Jesse Cox and Total Biscuit playing Terraria, I marveled at this concept of just listening to people talk the same way that they do with their friends and that I would with my friends. And even at that age, I thought it was something special. We live in an age where being parasocial is quite like a sort of prominent discussion topic. But I've always felt that there's a healthy medium when it comes to sort of content creators in general and their fans. Maybe it's just because I'm neurodivergent in some capacity, but I've always felt like my favorite YouTubers are fulfill the role of like close friends. And before everybody cringes at me, I know that we don't have a personal relationship. I've never struggled with that. I've never even wanted to necessarily begin personal relationships with my favorite content creators. I've never met any of them. I've never reached out to any of them. But watching their content, watching people speak to each other like I do to my friends, it fulfills that same role of spending time with my friends. It scratches that same itch of spending time with people I care about and sort of catching up with them and just enjoying being in like the presence of another. And I remember that I got that from that very first video. And through that video, I found a lot of other people to watch. I started watching the Yogscast, Game Grumps, a slew of other content creators over the years that have come and gone. Some, like the Yogscast, I've continued to watch until this day, like today. I was watching a Yogscast video before I sat down to record this. And even though I've grown and changed and thought a lot of different things over the years, I will say that the urge to create content myself has never really gone away. Sure, as YouTube and Twitch and things have changed in the content sphere, I've sort of backpedaled on things I've said. I've when asked by friends and family and stuff, I've definitely been like, oh no, I wouldn't want to be a YouTuber. Not because I wouldn't love it, but because I felt like it wasn't realistic. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way too. And that's why I'm making this video. I've spent 13 years of my life watching people on YouTube, falling in love with their content, feeling like I can bond with their content, and that I can sort of take a lot of just take a lot from their content. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself and maybe rambling a bit, but it's because I don't really know how to put into words and quantify what they give me. It's a human connection that I don't get from a lot of more produced media, and I think that's a huge strength of content creation, and I think it's what's drawn me to it. And I hope that that's a big reason why other people are drawn to it. It's not the idea that you know your content creator on a personal level. I mean, it always rings in my mind the idea that it's not about having a personal relationship with them. It's not about feeling like they know you and you know them. For me, it's the idea that you are seeing these people in a more organic state. Say what you want about editing and clipping and it is very much apparent that a lot of YouTubers do fake or hide their personalities when they're online or try to filter what they show to the world, but that's what we all do on a personal level when we go out. It's very rare that someone is just themselves on an unfiltered level in front of the world. And I think the idea that by creating content, you can choose to represent yourself how you want to the world and let people make what they will of that, is very intoxicating to someone like me. I mean, God, I've been struggling to keep work for a while now, and I just find more and more that I'm drawn to content creation rather than sort of like a traditional job. Not because I'm lazy, but because I think it's left an indelible mark on me from the way that I've grown up and consumed media. I mean, I've been watching YouTube, cartoons, TV shows, movies, anime, Netflix, streaming things since I was, since I can remember doing it, and I've never stopped. And it's to the point where I really do struggle to find a lot of substance in like the mundanity of day-to-day life. And that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm completely out of touch with the world. I'm not somebody who needs to touch grass. I go out a lot. I don't necessarily play a lot of games these days. I go out a lot. I do a lot of walking. I spend a lot of time with my fiance. She herself is pregnant, so we've got a kid on the way. So there's going to be a lot of busyness in my life. But where your career, your work, that's something that you can choose, and it provides for you. So in my head, I've always wanted it to be something that at least fulfills some part of my personality. It's not that I have to be in my dream career. It's just the idea that like I can meld where I work with who I am. But as the years have gone by and I've sort of, experienced a lot more negativity, which I think is a natural part of growing up, is that you go through more negative experiences because you sort of, as you come into your adult life and you make your own choices, those choices can backfire, and you have to deal with the consequence of that. And I think that does shape you as a person, but it also does make someone tend to, withdraw more or find it harder to trust. And I've experienced that myself, especially with new employment. I've had a lot of bad experiences in the past, and I'm, regardless of whether the outcome of those, it's left me sort of with a deep mistrust of new places to go, and slowly that's spread to like new people. And I'm by no means an unfriendly person. I just find more and more as time goes by, less energy that I want to devote to getting to know people. I'm quite happy with the people I know. And as much as this might seem like a sort of a side tangent, I'm hoping that there are people out there who understand that feeling. That as time goes on, and you grow older, you want more and more to just your life. And the life around you and the environment you're in to be one that you've chosen. And for a lot of people, the part of that sticks out as something you have to compromise on is your work. And that's life. That's how it goes for a lot of people. Which is why the idea of making content is still so intoxicating all these years later. The idea of choosing what you want to do, what you want to talk about, putting it out there, letting people, take what they will from it, letting the people who feel the same way about you or think the same way that you do or enjoy the same things you do, making that your contribution, and also what rewards you and what keeps food on the table and, the lights on. That's the dream, I think, for a lot of people. And that's why YouTube has always been a dream career for a lot of people, because you get to choose your own career. I mean, here I am wanting to make a career out of just talking out of my ass about, my own feelings. And my own thoughts on this. And I would love to find people who find that interesting, because I find that interesting. There's a lot of YouTubers who I just like to listen to because I like their thoughts. I like the way they think. I like the way they speak. And I would love to give that feeling to someone. And I think that's what's kept YouTube on my horizon my entire life. And I think that's why it sort of does for a lot of people. The idea that I could do what I did for someone else, which is, spark an interest in something that becomes a lifelong passion, would be incredible. And it would be something that would be fulfilling, and it would be something that would be exciting, and it would mean that the parts of my life that I have to devote to things I don't care about can become things I care about. And that's the beauty of YouTube, and that's the beauty of creating content. And I hope everybody else understands how exciting that is, and understands why I would want to do this. So like I said, this video took me 13 years to make, because from that very first video, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I've never sat down and done it. And I know there are hundreds of thousands of you out there who haven't done it either. So when I say that I think you could do this quicker, I think that you can, because it's a really simple realization to come to, that you just have to make something for yourself. It's as simple as that. I've looked at YouTube for all these years like an unattainable thing, because I don't have the talent or the unique sort of idea, the creativity to come up with something that innovates. And I didn't want to be a knockoff of just the people I was watching. I didn't want to be so obviously trying to mimic them, because I don't think that would satisfy me either. And for some people it does, just to emulate what you enjoy. But for myself, the big realization and the thing that's finally made me sit down and make this is just realizing that it doesn't matter whether it goes well. It doesn't matter whether this video goes well. It doesn't even matter whether this conversation I'm having with you right now goes well. And I don't think it is. So, already we're 1 out of 3. 2 out of 3 are bad. So if I can at least get the video looking decent, or maybe if it does decently well, gets a few views, that would be a personal best, and I'd be happy with that. So what I want to say is, make it for yourself and do it. For everybody out there who finds this video, it pops up on your feed and you have a little skim through. First of all, thank you for getting this far. Secondly, do it yourself. It took me 13 years and it was not worth it. Like Concord, I have been a massive disappointment. This entire video is really rambly, and it did not need to take this long to be made. And I'm still glad I made it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't do well, because I made it, and I made something I wanted to make. I wanted to talk at you guys for a while, and I've done it. Thank the gods. Big whoop. Woo, 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 woo. He's done it. All right? And I'm happy with that. And I think that's all the realization you need to come to. I know for a lot of people, because for myself, I thought I'd realized that a long time ago, but I think take a step back. If you've ever wanted to make a video and you haven't been able to do it, take a step back. Think about what you're doing. Are you analyzing whether it's going to fill a niche? Are you thinking about how well it's going to do on the algorithm? Are you spending a lot of time throwing ideas around, scripting, taking lots of B-roll, doing anything to put off committing to a final project that you show to the world? Because that's what I did. I thought I was making something I wanted by spending, months and months over these last 13 years. So many times did I sit down, come up with an idea, put something to it, and then give up halfway through, because I couldn't craft it to be the masterpiece that I needed it to be in my head for it to be viewable by the world. But it doesn't have to be a masterpiece, because nothing is ever. There are things that I think are perfect, and they are the culmination of the work of lots of people. There are shows, movies, big projects that have really, really, sort of honed in on something, but that's not you. That doesn't have to be you. And that's not what made me fall in love with YouTube. As much as I enjoy things that feel really well put together, I realized that first video, and what made me fall in love with content creation, was the humanity I found in it, the personal relationship I felt like I was witnessing between YouTubers, and that I felt like I could share in by watching their content. And I want to give that to someone. I don't want to spend years crafting something cold and inhuman and professional, because that's not me. And the point of YouTube is to put yourself out in the world. So if you've ever felt the urge to put yourself out there, I'm telling you, your video doesn't need to take 13 years. You could do it right now. So with that, I think I'm going to sign off, because if I try to ramble on any longer, I'm going to find out some way to ruin this for myself, some way to talk myself into a corner and decide that this whole recording is going to get thrown out. So with that, I bid you farewell. I thank you so much for coming to the end of this video. Really thank you so much for clicking on it. Like, this is, like I said, this is such a stupid passion project, and I'm going to keep throwing things at the wall and see if anything sticks. So please do click the subscribe button and like the video, and stick around if you want to catch up with me more. If you like the way I ramble, I might ramble about something you like, and I'll check every comment. So if you want me to go into more detail about anything, if you want me to talk about some of my experiences, if you'd like me to talk about a video game, TV show, movie, book, comic book, anything that you like, pop in the comments. I'll let you know if I'm into it, and if it's something that I'm particularly interested in, maybe I'll make a video on it. Regardless, I would like to sign this off by saying thank you again. Do take care, and I hope to see your video on my feed soon.
Magical older Harwen here, checking in from a few sort of weeks in the future. I just want to point out that for all my, spouted advice about making sure that you find the right concept, like doing it for yourself, picking something that you enjoy, just going for it and not really worrying about, whether it's going to come out perfect, or if it's the perfect concept for you, or if it surmises everything you want it to. And then here I am a few weeks down the line, and I've recorded like 8 other partial scripts, written a few bits and bobs, done a little bit of editing on different videos, and I still haven't made this one. So do not feel bad if you keep pushing it back. We all like to procrastinate, some of us more than others. I'm an expert. But it is worth it, and I'm recording this now as a promise to myself that no matter what it turns out like, I'm just going to put it out there, and so should you. Future Harry out. I will continue to let my bones sort of break down into dust as I march through time. Thank you. Wow.
I mean, I'm leaving this exactly as it is, intact the way it was when I first recorded it, so that you know that there's been probably about a month to a month and a half in between me setting out recording the bulk of this and finishing it off as I am now. So from future Harry to past Harry, maybe don't condense it all down into a night. I think the message still stands. I'm leaving it as a testament to how you can get carried away when you sort of get on a bit of a streak with something that you've been meaning to do for a while. So don't get too carried away, and just remember to do things that you want to do. In the same way, I find it's very hard to quit a vice or a habit that you haven't sort of found yourself wanting to quit before. It's also very difficult to apply yourself to something creative when you're not really feeling it. And as much of a lazy cop out of an answer as that is, it is true that I just find, at least for me, I don't create well when I don't feel it. So I haven't been able to actually throw this project together. So whether it takes you a day, a month, or years like it's taken me, please do try and put something together. Hopefully I'll see your video on my feed sometime soon. Thank you again. Do take care.